Hello and welcome back to another exciting podcast episode of American Pylon. Your host here, Will Mehall, joined by my counterparts, James Thomas Fanning IV, Tyler Combs, and producer Dave there behind the tech making all of this possible. Again, we don't have really anything on the docket, but as we've seen in the past...
We are in peak off-season right now.
Yeah, that leads to some of the best discussions. We hashed out a couple things prior to us kicking things off, so hopefully... that'll lead to some more interesting discussions. But before we get into all that, I want to give a shout out to our partners at In We Go. So for just $30 a month, you can get unlimited access to events in and around your city. It's now live in Denver, Phoenix, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, and the Tampa area. So if you like going to brewery tours, ball games, concerts, that kind of stuff, be sure to check them out at In We Go. And if you plug in the promo code Pylon into the promo code box, you can get $10 off your first month. So be sure to check them out at In We Go. As I mentioned, we didn't have anything really officially on the docket. There has been a fair amount going on in sports, though. We're in the thralls of the off-season for Georgia football, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the sports world comes to a screeching halt. And we oftentimes see a lot of these stories coming through, and ones that carry a lot of weight, not just in the sports world themselves. And what I'm referring to is, if you've followed headline news or sports news within the past couple of weeks, you'll probably have seen that some of the top women's players in the women's national soccer team has actually filed a lawsuit. I think it's against the United States Soccer Association.
I believe the NSSF, which is National Soccer
Federation.
or something Federation.
So basically saying...
We did a lot of research going into this.
Basically saying that they deserve to be paid just as much as the national men's team.
USSF. United States Soccer Federation. There it is.
Got it. So this conversation always brings like a lot of external factors, right? There's conversations about the gender pay gap and the workforce, and ensuring that women have not only a fair opportunity but are given just as much room for advancement as men in the workforce, and all of those things I think are certainly an important conversation to be had. I think that in this particular conversation, it's a little bit different when we talk about sports. And the reason I say that is when you're comparing men's and women's sports, oftentimes the competition is not really the same. I mean, we're not talking about the same exact type of game. The easiest one to compare that to is like basketball, right? When you look at the NBA and what those players are capable of doing physically from a physical standpoint, there's a reason why it's a big deal when a female basketball player dunks a basketball. It's because it's not that common, but that's an every night occurrence in the NBA, right? So I think it would be naive for somebody to argue that physical capabilities are on an even playing field, but what I think they're saying is if this is a nationally funded initiative, then why are we not getting a fair share of that pay?
So their argument is, if you're just looking at it from the perspective of, you are an employee and you should be paid relative to the amount of money that you're generating and your employer is making, then they don't really have that much ground to stand on. But I think what they're arguing here is, so I'm gonna take this side of the argument just for the sake of having a discussion, is the USSF is a nonprofit. So their purpose, in their own words, is to make soccer in all its forms a preeminent sport in the United States and continue the development of soccer at all recreational and competitive levels. So, they get a lot of tax breaks. They don't have to pay a lot of money because of their nonprofit status, because they make a big deal of saying we are not a business. We are here to, promote the sport of soccer. So I think that would be their best argument to say, it's not a business, so what we're paid shouldn't be tied to how much we're generating. What we're paid should be, the top women should be paid as much as the top men, which I think USTA went to not too long ago, right? Don't they make the same amount of prize money, even though men play 5 sets instead of 3 in the finals? So women actually get paid more per serve and per set. Right,
which is kind of an interesting point of contention. I think a lot of players were for it when the original topic came up, but then when they realized how long men's matches actually last in comparison to women's matches, like on a per hour or whatever you want to break it down to basis, men are actually earning less because they play a much, much longer match. So it was a really bizarre argument. Again, I understand like where you're coming from, and you want to have these things be a level playing field, but I just don't know that you can make the case, especially in something like tennis, when you're not even playing the same game, really.
Yeah, I mean, tennis would be harder. I think soccer has the most leg to stand on because, A, it is a non-profit, so you could say they're both playing a 90-minute match, so they, the top level versus the top level should be worth the same. The NBA, I don't think, has much of a to stand, not because of the level of play, but because the NBA is not a non-profit, not a tax-exempt company. So, that is a business there to generate revenue via entertainment. So the men generate more revenue, so they should be compensated more.
Right. Well, I was going to say, in that point of the argument, wouldn't the U.S. women's national team end up losing money if they try to pay these women the same amount as they pay men eventually? Because you're not getting butts in the seats. You're not selling tickets. You're not selling as many jerseys. The TV deal isn't as rich. The Women's World Cup is not as large as the Men's World Cup. There are certainly some things to be said there that cost money to get to that point. And if you're dumping money in this one bucket, it just simply isn't generating what the men can. Don't you eventually run into that?
So I think that makes it hazy if they were actually operating in the red at a net loss, which I don't have those numbers, so I'm not. But I think, again, the argument is up until at least you hit zero balance, the profitability of it shouldn't matter because they are a tax-exempt organization that is there to promote the magical game of soccer, not to make money. And apparently the NCAA is a tax-exempt nonprofit organization. It's that in name only. We all know that. But if they're going to claim that tax exemption and be like, oh, no, we're not here to make money. We're here to promote sports because we're all good people who, don't care about money and just love sports, then at least at that point, I feel like it's fair for the women to be like, oh, okay, we'll put your money where your mouth is.
Well, it still takes money to run the level of operation you need.
Well, that's what I was saying. Once you get into the red to where they're spending more money than they're making on their payroll and stuff, then, you'd have to, because, not even any sort of, the Red Cross can't function if they're spending more money than they're bringing in. So I don't know how close they are to the break even at this point, or how close that new payroll, if they were paid the same as the men, would make them. Or I don't even know really how many people this involves. I mean, maybe there's only 7 or 8 women that feel like that they're enough of a brand and they're enough of a skill that they deserve X amount of $1 million. I'm not even really familiar with the payroll in the MLS. I mean,
I'm not either. I know I think it's 5 designated players that are considered like premier contracts or top tier contracts. So they're making like north of 6 or 7 figures. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's structured that way. You have like 5 guys like that.
Do you know who the highest paid MLS player is? Probably one of the old Premier League players, right?
Zlatan or Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the Wayne Rooney plays for Washington.
Wayne Rooney plays for DC, yeah. I don't know who the highest paid him.
David Beckham.
I'll check it out.
Maybe at one point.
I'll check that out.
I don't know how you can really make that case, because the way I look at it right now is you have to operate under the assumption that that they're even right now. So that's the way I look at it. So I don't take into account whether or not that they're making a ton of money to be able to invest back in the women. To me, it's more like what you're driving in revenue as an organization yourself. So if the women are driving a portion of the money that they are not being paid, then I would see a cause for concern with that, right? So if they are driving a higher percentage, whereas the men are not because of their performance. Because I thought this was all started performance based, right? I thought that their original argument was the men are making all this money and they haven't done anything on a national level, and the women are continually top contenders with big time household names. And I think that was their big point of contention, which I can certainly look at and be like, yeah, I guess you're right. But at the same time, I look at it how much money are you generating?
Well, and see, again, I know I have my one point that I keep trying to make, but I think it would be similar, in that it's a nonprofit. Say you had twin 6-year-olds, and one was a boy and one was a girl, and you signed them up for Upward Basketball, and you took them down there, and they were like, okay, your son gets to play a season for $50, but your daughter, it costs $75. And you're like, well, why does my daughter cost more? And they're like, well, less people come to watch the games and buy less concessions and stuff, so we're operating at a lower profit margin for girls, so we have to charge more for them to play. Wouldn't you be like, what the hell? This is church league basketball. What do you care as long as you break even, as long as you're not losing money. Why are we worried about the bottom line here? And I think that would theoretically be what these women are saying, is that this is a nonprofit organization. It's not here to make money for the owners.
So my next question would be,
well, Oprah, you don't pay for games.
Well, yeah, this is a hypothetical.
Well,
that's extremely hypothetical. Because you're not paying the coaches. And that is truly.
Well, I'm just trying to shrink it way down to like a micro level of,
Let's say as high school,
boys versus girls.
I can't remember. When in my high school, I can't remember if you paid different for the girls soccer game and the boy. I don't think
That's
you did.
GHSA.
Yeah, GHSA. I don't.
Oh, do they set that?
I don't
pretty
think
events
sure.
were different. So
football was more expensive than other sports.
Right.
Than women's basketball. I just don't know if men's basketball was more expensive than.
I don't know.
And then
See,
I
in
played
Tennessee,
men's soccer.
I'm pretty sure that none of the prices were regulated until the playoffs. That was when TSSA, TSSAA took over.
Mm-hmm.
But I think each school set their own prices. So definitely our men's basketball games cost more than our women's games.
But
that's more of like a barrier of entry thing.
So my thing to that is like, okay, so if the soccer federation is a nonprofit and these players are technically employees of that, shouldn't they be operating under the assumption that you're technically an employee of a nonprofit? So, I mean, I don't know how you can make the case that you're not making enough money in a nonprofit.
Well,
you know what
I don't
mean?
think a nonprofit means that everybody there is working for free. It just means that the purpose of the company is not to generate the maximum bottom line possible. It's to serve a certain purpose, whether it's relief work or,
so
entertainment
if I was the person that was trying to defend against that lawsuit, I would say, well, like, our purpose isn't to make you money. Our purpose is
to give you that platform.
Is to give you that platform, and what you do with it and how much money you drive is up to you.
Turning my whole argument on its
head.
Right,
but the fact is that like we're not
well played. Will
we're not here to make you rich. Like by the definition of what we are as a nonprofit, it is a organization that's meant to drive awareness.
They don't want more money. They want as much money.
That is more money.
That is more money.
Well, they want as much money as the men are getting right now. I think it'd be like if you worked for, if you started working for the Red Cross, and on day one they were like, okay, for pushing papers or whatever they do in the Red Cross, like the men make this much money and the women make 30% less. Just
right, but okay, but if you look at it like any other job, right? Like if you look at it about what you bring to the table, about the revenue that you're driving for the organization.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This is all based on saying the entire purpose of any employee is to drive revenue, which is not the case theoretically with the whatever this company is called, USSF or
okay,
whatever.
So if they're not being if they're not being paid based on the revenue that they're driving, I guess I don't understand why, if it's a non-for-profit, why they're paying. I mean, like, then what is the differentiating factor? Then,
I guess that's true. I guess.
Or why do top players make more money than?
Yeah,
that's all performance.
I just thought of that in my head, and I am stalling because I'm trying to come up with an answer to it, but I don't know.
Well, we solved it right here on American Pylon, guys.
I guess so. I did my best, girls. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I really tried.
At the end of the day, we talked about this a little bit before the show, trying to be like, is there really any way that we could rationalize this argument? And I just don't see any way around it. Like, I think. And again, they did it for tennis, and I think that was a terrible mistake. And now I think that gap is smaller for women because top tiers in women in tennis, I mean, they're still like Serena Williams is a household name.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So like you can make a case, be like, holy cow, she's putting, butts in the seats.
Yeah. Well, I was say not even compared to Serena, does not women's tennis still attract? Does it sell out the stadium? Because when I watch tennis on TV, It, I don't know if it matches, but it is pretty close looking at the crowd size, which is, I know, a small margin to judge all this on.
Yeah.
But when you watch a women's sporting event, mainly the basketball, or soccer, it is not near as crowded as what the men's going to drive. But for tennis, it seems to be a lot more even.
I think that like capabilities between, or like disparity in capabilities between the sexes is much closer in tennis because, like, yes, as a man, like, they're probably going to be faster. They can hit the ball harder, but like the finesse and the shots, it's kind of like golf to me. Like a guy's going to drive the ball farther, but at the end of the day, like they still have to hit the ball in a cup.
Yeah, that's what. Other than seeing the serves that go like 130 miles an hour, whatever Roddick did, I would think that there's the smallest gap between, assuming it's it's women versus women and men versus men. What do you think? Like, what if like Serena Williams played Roger Federer?
She would lose for sure.
Would he just destroy her?
Yes.
Or would it be like
100%?
Do you think it would be?
He
closer
also has a
than,
bias against Serena, so maybe pick another person.
yeah.
If
That's
any-
true. Will doesn't like. Well, I'm just
Well,
saying.
there's a-
Like,
okay,
would
so
would it be closer than LeBron versus Brittany Griner? I mean, if you're looking at like.
So let me put it this
the
way.
two
So this
best
has
and
already
different-
happened. This has already happened. So there's a famous.
Is Brittany Griner the best WNBA player
I
still?
don't think she's in the
I
league
think
anymore.
no, I thought it was the girl from UConn, Maya.
Maya
Moore?
She also left, I think.
Oh,
Didn't she go to?
was she awesome?
She had to go get more money.
Didn't she go to high school around here? I think Adam Keller's little sister played with
don't
her
know.
or against her or something. I
But
think
as
she's
far
from
as
Gwinnett County.
far as that tennis point, so when Serena and Venus were actually in their teenage years, I want to say like their mid-teens, they were saying how they could beat a man that was on the professional tour. I can't remember the guy's name. You can look this up. It's a very famous story. But
He agreed to play him.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the top 100 players in
beat
the
him?
world. Oh, he destroyed him. It was like 6-0, 6-1. And he was like famously smoking cigarettes on the side of the court. Like, it wasn't even close. And as a teenager, that's like some of your peak athletic ability. And this guy's like an old washed up, like not even top 100 players.
I love this so much.
So, I mean, the fact of the matter is like, you can make that case.
Could
like,
you beat Serena?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
All right. At least we're staying in the realm
We
of
know- yeah,
possibility
come
here.
on.
No, I mean, come on. We're talking about athletes here.
I know she will my ass.
Yeah, she'd beat the crap out of me. But if you're talking about like professional tennis players, like there's no shot. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to speed and power, and just like it's the same thing. Like if you were going to put LeBron up against the best female basketball, like there's no way.
My more.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen.
But you're also, I mean, he's the most physical, best basketball player right now today, right? He would beat any guy 1-on-1, wouldn't you say?
Okay,
I mean,
Steph Curry.
yeah.
I was about
Pick
to say,
Steph
like,
Curry.
let's put a wig on Steph and see what that.
So
I mean-
what about if we picked like Deli or somebody like Deli Vidado or whatever? Like the white guy from South Africa that everybody hates that kicks people.
Yeah,
Oh,
Chris
he would.
Dellavedova.
Yes.
he would
Yeah.
still-
Yeah.
So I mean, for the sake of like a parallel to what Will was just saying, if we picked a 12th man type guy,
Anybody
and
in the
not-
league would beat anybody on a WNBA roster
That's
one-on-one.
probably fair.
There's
Yeah,
no
probably
way.
true.
Yeah.
Maybe not like Rondo. Maybe I mean, if he was having an off day shooting, I don't know if he could drive
See, I
against
think
some of those
this-
centers in the WNBA. He's like 5'8",
This just, he looks 5'8". He's probably like 6'3", and he's a point guard.
almost as big as Alan Carroll. Probably.
Almost, that's true.
I think the
Alex
only
is fine.
sports where this disparity isn't important
That was
is
my
like
next question.
tennis
And I think golf.
and golf.
But see, golf
So what-
also
what-
compensates.
What major sport could a woman have the best chance to actually have a semi-successful career as a pro in the men's league?
NASCAR.
Oh yeah, Danica Patrick. Is she good at NASCAR?
No, she just
or do
wrecks
they just
people.
like really want
I don't
her
think
to be
she's
good
ever
for-
won, but all things being the same.
But hey, I mean, there's I got to imagine there's a lot of people that have raced that probably never won, and she didn't have that long of a career, right? What was it? Maybe
Is she not
6-7
in
years
in the
Maybe
league
longer.
anymore?
No.
In the circuit?
The
What are
cup.
we
Cup.
saying? Okay, in the cup.
I think she's retired. But I'm trying to think. That is a good question because then I think about who was that chick that dominated the Olympics in swimming? She was like just blowing people away.
she was great.
She was incredible.
Abby something? Abby.
Do you think
The UGA girl?
could a female swimmer, and this is where we're getting
I mean-
way in the deep end, pun intended.
No pun intended.
Could,
I mean, she
could a
could-
female swimmer beat a male? Could beat? Let's not say Michael Phelps.
No,
But it's no. I mean, some very few men beat Michael Phelps, but could.
I mean she was she would be the age of a college swimmer. So I
Yeah, what's
guarantee you
her-
I guarantee you could definitely beat a D1 men's swimmer.
Okay.
I gotta think.
Man,
I mean, she
we'll
was
have to get a-
destroying people.
we'll
She
have
was
to get a
setting
swim-
records.
yeah.
Like that's cool.
We'll have to get
me.
a swimmer.
What was her name?
on here.
I will find her.
Because to me those things are so much closer. I feel like
Sure. No, I agree. I mean, I can. That is definitely more
Is that
believable
fair?
to me. No, I can draw that. I can see that. I just think.
But like you heard about that one girl that got actually signed to a
Katie
mate.
Ledecky.
Yes.
That was her name,
She
right?
went to Georgia, right?
Did she go to
Did she?
Georgia?
No.
isn't she the real blonde chick?
Hell yeah, go Dogs.
She's cute.
Eh.
I thought she was cute. She had a great smile.
Current world record holder in women's 400, 800, and 1500 meter freestyle. So could Katie Ledecky beat Alan Carroll in his
Okay, well,
prime
actually-
in a 400 meter freestyle?
I don't know that anybody could beat Alan Carroll in his prime.
Does Alan listen to the podcast?
I don't know.
He's still
We'll
in his
find-
prime.
I'm sure.
That's
I'm,
true. He
that's
hasn't
true.
even begun to enter his prime. When he enters his prime, you'll know.
He decides
We'll all
when
know.
he decides when he enters and leaves.
Oh, by the way, Katie Ledecky went to Stanford, so that was some.
And
Okay.
she's smart.
The,
Which-
the Georgia
which people
of
say
the
Georgia.
Pacific
Thank you.
Northwest.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wait, what? that a thing?
I don't know. Stanford's not really.
It is now.
We just
made it
That's
a
just
thing.
Northern California.
Yeah, but no, I think that she could probably take a D1 male swimmer.
I'm trying to find straight up.
I think that's
do
probably
women
true.
and men compete in the same distances?
Yeah, but just
The
not,
pool size doesn't
not
change.
not at the same time.
Not at the same
they
time, I know
compete
that.
in the same.
Well, I was
events.
trying to.
Let's
Yeah.
bring out the bigger pool.
I was trying to.
same lane too.
Is this regulation?
You guys are
size
just
or
gonna have
what?
to try and fight to get to the end.
Swimmies and no swimmies.
Drain it. It's
What
3
kind of
feet
question
deep.
is that?
Well, I was just trying to find because I was trying to find a side by side.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to stop here in this pool. Turn
Well,
around. You don't get to use the wall.
Well, for instance, women.
They put the rope horizontal.
Okay, stupid question. Good point. Yes. Okay. Obviously not. But like for instance, in golf though, women obviously have the closer tees because they can't, typically drive as far as a man.
So you don't think that if a woman
A woman can swim as far as a man, yes. I'm just saying, when it comes to everything else, like if a man can run faster and jump higher than a woman, couldn't he certainly swim faster than a woman? But wouldn't that kind of translate,
So you're saying that
I'm trying to find the NCAA
record times?
to compare them to hers, but apparently there are scores in swim meets. Texas beat Cal 449 to 437 to win the
I
national
remember that
championship this year.
This year. Yeah, I remember that year. It was a good
I wonder how this translates.
It was closer than
You
the
had me
score
going
made
there
it
for a
seem.
second. I was like,
Texas
really?
really ran away with it at the end. Texas. Oh,
That's to
fun
be-
fact actually. Texas is 4-time in a row national champions currently, and
Wow.
they beat Cal 4 times in a row.
There you
So
go.
Cal
Duh.
is the Buffalo Bills of NCAA swimming, which is co-ed, I believe. Oh no, men's swimming.
I wonder how this translates to esports.
Yeah, listeners, hang in there. I promise we're getting it back sometime, some way. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I would like to see. I'm too lazy to look it up now.
So let me ask you this because you brought up a
Side
point
by
about the
side.
tees. You
Shut
brought
up,
up the point
Tyler.
about the tees. So you're saying that if women had to tee off from the same tournament tees that men did, that you don't think that they would have a chance?
I don't think they would. I mean, I just think naturally their scores would be higher. They would.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna say they don't have a chance. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I don't know. Golf is weird though because
Golf
it's
is-
one of
you
those
could have a
things where it's
bad
like, well, yeah, but you can also
Any
pick a different club, right? If a guy's picking a 5-iron, maybe a girl picks a 4, and that's the difference to the hole.
yeah, but isn't a guy gonna always? I mean, step up to a par 5.
Driver.
A guy's going to drive it. A woman has to drive it as well. A guy is naturally going to drive that ball farther. His approach shot's going to be easier. It's going to be close. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
But you never know though on a par 5 whether you're. It's not like you drive it and then you're like right up at the green.
I agree with that.
We're not all you.
You're true. I guess.
I drive the green no matter what par.
I mean,
hole
yeah,
I'm on.
when I go golf, I take 2 clubs. I have a bag, a driver, and a putter. I drive the green every time. Anyway, but yeah, a fun story about that later time. Catch me in a bar. We can talk about it. But I guess
Okay.
I don't see that being comparable, women and men from the same tees. Because that's just, I agree. There's a little more skill in reading the course. You can have an off day. There's a lot more elements as far as reading wind, everything to that effect. But just all things being the same shot, aiming with the same thing, same clubs even, because you're going to select the driver, approach shot, putting. The man's going to get there in less shots
I'm
than
like,
the woman.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, I was like, maybe
But
volleyball.
the short game is such a huge part of golf. Like I think that's worth. I mean, like
No,
five,
that's
or,
what I was
five
kinda
or 6 strokes a
alluding to.
game.
No, it is.
which is a
Totally.
lot. I mean, at the end of it, but I
just
mean,
think
I
more-
know lots. I mean, I'm not a good golfer at all, but just being able to drive the green every time is not going to guarantee you.
But
No
I
doubt.
think
I know
I think
lots of women that could golf me under the table.
I think that what these conversations come down to is if you were going to put the best male athlete at that sport versus the best female, like, is there a large disparity or a small one? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's large.
Right.
I mean, because
Yeah.
you see the top. Look at the top 10 men. There is like in every sport, there is a upper echelon, there's a very top tier of athlete in the man's game. Same with for women. But like this all circles back to national team. Those are the best women in the world at soccer. They're even good on the Olympic scale, World Cup scale. Our guys necessarily aren't, but the U.S. women are some of the best in the world at U.S. soccer or at soccer. Period. Some of the best men in the world are like the Spanish. I don't know what this noise is in the background. I'm sorry, we're all distracted. But let's say the Spain team or the Netherlands team are the best in the world in soccer. Like that's not even close. And those are we're talking about the top people in their sports.
France
right?
is the best soccer team in the world.
They are this year. That's a good
currently.
point.
Croatia is
and
second.
it's not even close. Those aren't even close. And now in other sports where it's closer, maybe it's I don't know. The sports themselves make it harder to see a dominating performance over one. But I guess No. My short answer is no. That is not even close.
I did find so the NCAA and the Olympics swim different distances, so we have no way to compare Katie Ledecky to men.
No such thing as a stupid question.
Yep.
Let that be a lesson for you
NCAA
kids.
in freestyle swims 100, 200, 500, and 1,000, and the Olympics
Women are all half
swims
that.
4, 8, and 15.
No. I'm just teasing.
So we will never know. I
There
know
you go.
that her 400 time that she owns the world record for is way more than double the men's 200 time. But that's also apples and oranges when you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can't guarantee that this
Right.
guy that Townley Haas from Texas could have swam another 200 meters in the exact
I don't know,
same
you ever
time
seen him
as
in
he
the
swam
pool?
his guy's a monster.
It's a real gym rat.
Yeah, it's like they made him in a lab.
But
Shout out Townley Haas. He's a listener, actually.
But yeah, no, I mean, I guess to Will's question, what do you think, Jimmy? I mean, are there any close sports top male?
So I was thinking, I was like,
I think
volleyball.
the less the sport relies on like brute strength and speed, that was where it would get closer, because that's where men are gonna have like the biggest advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So something like football, I just don't.
There's
You could
no
never
way.
do it because
Oh.
it's too much. So
I think there was
the more finesse that's involved, I think the closer it would get. Like a short game in golf,
Yeah. Yeah.
darts.
tennis, we're talking dart. I mean archery, rifle shooting, stuff like that. It
Chess.
depends on how far down you
Poker.
trickle down and call it a sport.
Well,
Yeah.
I think there was I think it was on Sports Science. I can't remember, but they had that girl that was that real prominent softball pitcher, Jenny Finch. Is that her name?
Monica Abbott.
No.
Okay.
So
It's the only softball player in the whole world that I know.
anyway, they had some MLB players trying to hit off her, and she's throwing, I don't know, 68, 70 underhand, but you're
You're what?
2/3 of the distance from and they could not hit it.
Really?
But it's a
Okay,
complete.
but let me ask
Yeah,
you:
it's
if
totally
we
yeah,
put
we all know why.
Craig Kimbrell
Yeah.
on the mound and
And
start
sling-
throwing,
Yeah.
if CC Sabathia's throwing
overhanded.
90-mile-an-hour sliders, you
Overhand,
think anybody's
yeah.
hitting that?
No, I think
No. So what kind of a comparison is
it's
that?
not a comparison. It's just a fun fact that like
I like both of your points.
It's
So by that logic, though, could you argue that hitting a ball in softball is as difficult as hitting
No.
a ball in
I
Major League
think
Baseball?
hitting a baseball is
Do you
one of the
not have the
hardest things
same
in
amount of
sports
time
to
to
do.
track the ball and decide where you're going to pitch because it's coming not quite as fast, but it travels less
I mean,
distance?
I'd have to get out the calculator to
crunch
do
the
all that,
numbers,
but
yeah.
Someone's done
it's-
I think
it
that
seems
comes down
plausible.
way more to what you've grown up doing and having practice at than just.
well, yeah. I mean, we
They
know
did
that.
They did a
like-
sports science one time where they did cricket in baseball. Did y'all see that?
Mm.
They had MLB players try and hit a cricket, which is like a
Yeah.
like a
It's a bat.
flat bat, like a paddle, and then
Yeah.
they bounce the ball and stuff, and they were just crushing it. Like they were hitting every single
Baseball
one.
players were?
The baseball players were destroying the cricket pitchers, and then the cricketers trying to swing,
Sure.
trying to swing the baseball.
Man, we
bat
are covering
at,
all the bases.
We are. We're
today.
hitting everything.
They-
Literally.
I see what you did there.
They didn't get a single hit. I
Yeah.
think sports science has definitively decided that here's a good question, hitting a Major League Baseball pitch is the hardest thing to do in
I would
sports.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they talked about how much of
Oh,
your
that was a quick discussion.
That's the problem with the show. We are all typically on the same.
Yeah, we
page.
finally found
Except for
something
last week.
Last
I
week,
think.
kind of captured
Yeah.
lightning in a bottle. There,
Yeah.
we tried to
like,
do
wow.
it this week. We're trying
All
to
by
find stuff we
happenstance.
disagree on. but-
Jimmy's think he's coming out with these hot takes, and we're like, yeah, that's definitely
yeah, it's
for
definitely
sure.
true.
Well, they did the math to figure out how fast your brain can actually react to stuff. So as you know, because you guys are all real smart here in the room.
Appreciate that.
Your
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, it's
You're-
not something Tyler hears very often.
your brain creates illusions about what it thinks is happening, right? So if someone throws a curveball, you're not actually seeing where it's at in real time. Your brain is imagining where it is going to be at when it hits the location that you're expecting it to see. So it's the same with a fastball. They said something like its last 10 feet. You're not actually seeing it. It's your
Yeah.
brain placing it
That's incredible.
subconsciously, like
That's
where it's
amazing.
supposed to be.
Checkmate,
Yeah.
atheists.
But I will I will dispute. A lot of people think that the rise pitch is a thing where you throw a fastball so hard that it has like a little uppity thing at the end there.
Uh-huh.
It's real snooty. They prove that that's. I don't know whether it's an illusion or we just over time have thought about it, but from a scientific trajectory perspective, a fastball cannot go and then rise back up again. Like it really is just
I
going
don't know
straight.
that as well. Would it change with a hockey puck? Because Reese and I watched Mighty Ducks 2 last night. and he
On
does,
HBO.
yeah, Kenan
Yeah.
Thompson does the knuckle puck.
Well, let me describe to you the differences.
yeah,
A hockey
is
puck
that-
comes from the ground and goes up.
Okay.
A pitch comes from up and goes down.
Aren't you the
Okay.
scientist, Jimmy?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that, but it's I don't know.
Look
I
it
thought
up.
I'd get more traction
I have
on
an
my Mighty
interesting
Ducks too.
From all this,
mention.
would you? And I'm not agreeing. Or I would like to see this actually from this discussion. Keep all women's, and men's leagues separate. But how would you like to see if you want to make a little extra money or compete, have a mixed bag of like a fun exhibition thing, but have like a
People would get hurt.
I think that gets as much pull as like the celebrity all-star softball.
And you're probably
game.
right. No one would take it seriously because you don't want to risk your career over something. But like, I think that would, if we could figure out a way, that would be a fun mixed
All right.
bag.
So let me put
do
that-
not mix the leagues.
It
Just
is
have that as a separate.
I think it's a lose-lose proposition for men in that position
you
because
beat them. Yeah.
well, it's like so I mean, and it's kind of like when you see the celebrity softball thing on the All-Star weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get a girl out on the mound and she's soft pitching a softball and you go yard or even worse, drill it back up the mound, how much of a jerk do you look like? It's like, all right, dude, you know what? Take it easy.
But
Ariana Grande is all of 95
But we're not
pounds
talking about
throwing
Ariana
pitches
Grande.
out here.
We're talking about people who say,
But
yes,
even still-
I'll sign up for that.
Even still, though, dude, like I don't
it would
know.
be hard to shake like the stigma. Of that. I
Exactly.
like the idea of that in a vacuum. That would be fun to watch.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd see a lot of athletes sign up to that for that just to
Yeah.
prove a point that makes you look like a jerk.
When
Exactly.
when I was a kid, what seemed to show the most crossover in sports, besides soccer, obviously when you're growing up is pretty
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
pretty intermingled. Yeah, no, it was baseball. Honestly, a lot of the girls that ended up being really good at softball and going to college, they were playing with the guys until we were maybe 12 or 13.
That's true. We had some of
and
that.
they
And
cut
they
out.
were throwing overhand and everything.
Oh yeah,
So
I mean
they
they were
have
just
to
they were
not
just as good
totally
as good.
rework all their mechanics when they switch to softball. Or is
Only
that
if you're a pitcher.
Only pitcher.
And I mean gripping the ball, I guess,
Yeah.
but that's
but
not a big deal.
at a certain point, that's going to run out.
Yeah,
Like that's going to run its course.
They did have one girl that was in like the Little League World
Yeah.
Series, and she was
No,
throwing
she's
some
crushing-
heaters.
right? Which is awesome. Like I think that's one of the coolest things to see because as long as the competition is there and she's
Sure.
at least on par,
Yeah.
then like why not, right? But at some point, I think it comes to a stage where it's like, okay, if you're not able to compete at the exact same level or even close, like you can't. I don't think that there should be a crossover.
Well, I agree. And even deeper. It's not even. That's not even a gender discussion.
Right.
And it comes down to it. That catches up to everybody. Girls to girls who are better.
Right.
Guys who can't even keep up to them. I mean, that doesn't become just a guy-girl conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with that.
I mean, I don't think that that's like too radical or too outrageous to say.
This also reminds me of the time, which we've referenced a few times, where Jimmy and I were playing a basketball in our
Yes.
league, and we were both defended by girls. So
How did that go?
That girl scored like 18 points.
It sounds like a you problem.
she shut me down.
Yeah.
I
That
consider
sounds
myself
like
an athlete.
you're just not good at basketball.
She caught fire from beyond the arc. There was nothing
Yeah.
we could do.
Is that because you were sucking wind back behind half court? Hey, I've been there,
Yeah, I
brother.
thought
So,
we had
hey,
all agreed not to play full court press.
So these are our opinions.
She's in my face.
These are not what we can do.
Yeah.
That's just so
We're just here to
emasculating,
generate
though.
clicks.
It still can't be as bad as when we lost to four guys.
Yeah.
But let me
Or
let me
five.
let me ask you this: does that make you feel even worse if you're getting your butt handed to you by a girl?
made me proud of her.
Really?
Proud
to
Is
see
that-
how
is
far
that-
women
is that
have
what
come
you were
in-
thinking
in
in the
church league
time?
basketball.
Not
I
if
mean-
she's like a really good basketball player.
Yeah.
Though. I don't think any of us would be like, "Oh man, we were."
Well, I mean, I also
Top
I
notch.
used to play in high school. I played in high school. I played in middle school. I wasn't playing the girls in. Girls weren't guarding me then. I know that. Like now, sure, maybe I didn't keep up. A couple of beers later, sure, me and that girl on the same par. Now that she's kept up with her athletic ability, now we're on the same playing field. No more, less embarrassing.
So wait. You're saying if? Well, can you say what you just said again?
I'm saying me, 10 years removed from glory days of playing high school basketball, and not kept up with physique or athleticism or my
Sure.
athletics,
Or just playing the actual game.
Okay.
can now be defended by a girl who's kept that
Gotcha.
up.
I thought
Sure.
you said something about beers, and I was like, so are you saying that if you were drunk?
We used to drink beer
No.
before the
I'm
games
saying-
at the church.
I'm saying there's a girl who probably played in high school,
Sure.
kept it up, plays a lot of pickup, is not
Or in
guarding
college.
the comparable guy
Yeah.
who has done the same thing that's on our team that was really good. He was being guarded by the guy.
Yeah.
who's,
See, I would have an easier time if it were like
no more less embarrassing
tennis
for
or
me, but-
golf than if it were like a physical sport, like where you can impose your will.
In
Yeah.
flag football and intramural in college, when we played co-ed, they would have rules to where you had to a girl had to touch the ball every third play or
Yeah.
something. He had a girl that played quarterback. She was deadly.
Oh, I just
Does
thought
that
of,
count as
would-
a, does that count
that
as a
counted
touch?
as a touch.
Well, that's, yeah, there
I
you
just,
go.
I just thought of another potentially low disparity sport in bowling.
Oh, that's a good one.
Alley cat strike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Circle back to our
That was a
decom
mixed
discussion.
That was a mixed team.
But I brought up volleyball earlier, and I actually don't think
I don't
would
think-
be.
I don't think so
Because
either.
when I think about it, like
Doubles,
those guys hit
maybe.
the crap out of the ball. And
Yeah.
if you were going to take,
Yeah, that's
they're
probably
just
true.
as tall. I mean, the girls are obviously
Because
really
the
tall
guys
as
can
well.
probably,
But
there's so much space you have to cover with so little, only 2 bodies in beach volleyball.
yeah,
I feel like the guys can just hit it
Or-
harder and place it, not more accurately, but they can put it where they want to put it faster.
right.
And so it'd be harder for
I,
if it was a men's team.
I was
versus
even
a
thinking
women's
like
team.
indoor, and then I was like, "There's no way."
So this woman I work with, her daughter plays high school volleyball. She's really good, very tall. She's like 6'4",
Jeez.
Oh, nice.
and went to
What high school
I don't know.
for our local listeners?
I don't know.
All right, Cross Keys High School.
And she went to Florida
Roanoke Catholic.
for a tryout or something. And I don't know if it was like an official combine or what could have happened, but basically the moral of the story was she was 6'4" and their shortest freshman was like 6'7". So
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
it
That's
was-
6'7".
I don't think I've ever seen a 6'7" girl before.
I don't think I have either.
I was at Snelling
At least in real life.
I was at the dining hall one time, like freshman or sophomore year, and there's 2 really tall girls that were in athletic gear in front of me. And one of the workers was like, "Oh, are you guys on the basketball team?" And they were like, "No, we're on the volleyball team." And he was like, "Oh, I mean, that's pretty much the same thing." And they were like, "It is not the same." They were so offended.
I would kind of be
Bold
a comment.
comment.
I guess
yeah.
maybe.
I mean, that's like other than the fact that they're 2 different sports. I guess you could see how they would be the same thing.
yeah. Other than
the fact that they're
they're
not even
literally
remotely
not the
close.
same at
takes
all.
the same body type.
That's
you gotta be
awful.
tall and be able to jump.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, we kind of came into this discussion. I knew that everybody was probably going to be on the same page.
I think I did a good job.
But Jim, you held your ground.
Yeah.
And even after we flipped the conversation
Yes, we can.
and completely disproved what you were trying to say. But I applaud the effort. I think we were trying to capture the feeling that we had last week of some slight disagreement, which was usually not the case on this
Next
show.
week we're talking about the wall. So
Yeah. We're like, we need
Fix
to,
some really hot button issues.
yeah, we need to get back to this. Find something that nobody can agree
Talk
on.
about gun control or something.
the new
Yeah.
budget proposal.
Seriously.
That I don't know anything about.
But
Nobody
yeah.
knows anything about that.
Well, what else is going on? I know I saw the Russell Westbrook thing came through. So I didn't really read.
So he fought a fan. Is that what happened?
I think he yelled profanity at a fan.
He slapped him.
Okay.
So there was a
really
loss.
slapped
Well,
I don't know.
no, but I think the guy. So Russell was fined $25,000, which
Chump change.
to me I was like, holy cow! But then I realized
How much
for
does he make
him.
this year?
more than that. But that fan was actually banned for life,
Really?
which is awesome.
How do they enforce that? They have like facial
ID.
recognition.
Probably ID. I actually don't know.
Do you show your ID when you go to Hawks games?
I don't know.
Maybe
Do
it's
I?
just like no, you definitely don't.
And we go. We don't do that.
No.
Maybe I just.
So maybe
I feel so rushed, and I have to take everything out of my pocket.
May-
So
I
I,
bet you
imagine
it's-
that I'm showing my.
I bet
ID.
you it's
There you
like a
go.
restraining order to where like they don't really enforce it, but if you got in trouble again, they
You're
can
arrested.
sue you or
Yeah,
they
sure.
take you to
Well, he's
jail or
bringing a
something like
lawsuit
that.
against Russell Westbrook right
Well,
now,
did you hear-
and the Utah Jazz.
A guy at work was telling me this, and I have no idea if this is true, but I think it's kind of funny if it is. The guy supposedly asked him, he's like, "Do you like coming to watch games here?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Tough, because now you can watch it from your couch the rest of the time." Or like, "Oh, he's like, do you like watching our
Westbrook
games?"
said that.
No, I think the guy, whoever kicked him out or something, was something to the effect, told the fan, like, "Do you enjoy watching our games?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "Good, you can watch it from the couch for the rest of your life," or something like that. Like
Hell
some
yeah.
quick wit, like,
Hell yeah,
"Oh, do you enjoy watching these games?" Good. And
Dude.
enjoy it from the comfort of your home for
Good.
for life.
yeah. I
So-
don't. Go ahead.
Whatever happened? You remember when our fellow fallen soldiers ended up having to go to Braves jail? They're in random.
I've never seen him since.
Who did?
They're-
Some
might
of
be
some
dead.
of our like fraternity brothers at one point ended up in Braves jail.
Before we say, I just did the math. I've been sitting over here doing it. Sorry,
I'll
Dave. We'll circle back to
I'll
that.
talk to you, David.
But if for the amount of money Russell Westbrook made this year, that would be the equivalent to someone who makes $100,000 a year getting fined $82.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot. It's
$25,000. I mean,
$82.
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
$82 is
That's a
$82.
That's a sporting event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
25,000 is 25,000.
Yeah,
the way I look at it.
Yes, but that's pretty interesting. But yeah, we did have some friends. I guess we probably shouldn't say their names on
We're
the
not
podcast.
dropping
and
any
it was
names.
like 10 years ago. It was 2011, actually. It was the day before the Georgia-Boise State game.
Yeah. I was just trying to remember what happens to you. Do you just get held the whole game and then they let you go?
Normally, we've had some friends that have gone, and I think they let you go at the end. But this particular person spent 2 days in Fulton County Jail.
Oh.
Because I think his parents didn't bail him out for a day or two.
Answer the phone.
Teach him a lesson.
Who is this?
We can't
We
say.
can't say. Name redacted. We'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
But it was at an ATO date function.
Date
when we
night,
were,
yeah.
date night when we were in
The
college.
chances were high that someone was going to end up in Brave Jail.
Yeah. It was Alex D'Agostino's 21st birthday. So
But it wasn't him.
But
It
yeah,
was not
we
him.
should preface this by
Yeah,
saying
we
that
should
it
say
was
him.
not Alex D'Agostino. By the way, shout out Alex D'Agostino.
yeah, thanks for listening all the way in Lexington, Kentucky.
And Ed Freeman State Farm.
Yeah, we forgot to give Ed a shout out. You know what? I've been really bad about this, so I apologize, Ed. Please don't revoke our sponsorship. I want to give a shout out.
Don't come take our T-shirts back.
And thanks again for that keg that one time.
Yeah. that was sweet.
But yeah, shout out Ed Freeman State Farm. He's definitely the best agent in the state. So if you guys are in Georgia and you're looking for insurance for your house or your boat, car, life insurance, whatever the case might be, look up Ed Freeman. We all rely on him here. He's done a heck of a job for me. So be sure to check out Ed.
Oh, here we go. Browns acquiring Odell Beckham Jr. from
I
the
saw
Giants.
that.
Let's
I
talk
saw
about that.
That's
Yeah.
for sure. That's a done deal.
I
Breaking
thought it was
news.
a joke. Is it not?
No
Well,
way.
unless ESPN is publishing jokes.
Both of those.
They are a joke.
Yeah,
They
both of
hired
those,
Jamel
No,
Hill.
Adam Schefter tweeted it, so it's legit.
Yeah, for sure.
The Giants will receive the Browns' first-round pick, number 17 overall, their second third-round pick. So not second and third, their second of their 2 third-round picks. And safety Jabril Peppers. Ooh, he was a big name. Remember him? He played at Michigan. You
I remember
him
the
at all?
name.
I remember the name, but how long has he been in
Did
the
he
league?
play safety?
2 or 3 years. I think the year that they drafted
he's still
Myles
pretty
Garrett
fresh.
first overall, he's still on a rookie deal. And so, I mean, that might be one thing the Giants might have just been trying to unload OBJ's contract.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty significant, though.
Dude,
a first
the Browns
and a third
offense.
and a
Making
starter.
moves.
Yeah, I like the Browns. Browns are like low-key my second team. I think they're fun to root for.
The lovable losers like they were in Chicago.
You don't like you don't like Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield.
No, that's a
First
stupid
of all.
thing.
Yeah,
You
here
like-
comes Spencer, actually.
You like
Speak
Baker.
of the devil.
You like Baker Mayfield, but you don't like Kyler Murray, who hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah. well,
Yeah, I
You
just
like a
think
guy who
it's-
evaded the cops, grabbed his crotch, is an absolute douche. Sorry, mom and dad. That guy's an ass,
And
you,
grandma.
and you like him. Blows my mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a winner.
I had a good time
He's
watching that game where he came in.
hasn't won anything except for an individual award.
It
Didn't
just
win a
shows-
Heisman.
that just shows you how selfish he is.
So did RG.
What are we even talking about?
So
Not
did,
a-
so
not
did
a
R-
team player.
So did RG3.
Yep,
So
bust.
did Johnny Manziel.
Bust.
So did
Bust.
I don't know Vince Young.
It's
Bust.
yeah. Well, the Heisman's been cursed since Peyton Manning didn't win it in 1997. Everybody knows that.
A curse for what?
Curse that you don't have a good NFL career.
I beg to differ. Cam Newton, Rookie of the Year, first overall pick.
What has he won? Well, he won a national championship in college, but
Mm.
selfishly did it all himself.
Decided
Yeah.
that he didn't
Showboating
want to
the
fall
whole
on the ball
damn
in the
way.
Super Bowl.
I'm not going to get onto this, but yeah, no, he lost Super Bowl, but he made it there. I can't name another one
No.
that did.
I guess if we're just going for second place, and kudos to him.
Well, if we're talking about Baker Mayfield in 71st
I'm not supporting
place.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, well,
I
I mean,
support
we have
Baker
someone who
Mayfield.
is.
I'll support Baker Mayfield.
Finally,
Baker
something we can
Mayfield. Here we
disagree
go.
on.
Let's
Oh,
do
my
this.
God.
Finally, something we can disagree on.
The crotch thing was over the top, but also the Kansas captains refused to shake his hand. So
Oh yeah, I'm not
That's
saying.
all
I'm not saying
sportsmanship
they were
is out
cool
the window
too.
at
Just
that
be
point.
bigger than that. Be bigger than that.
Yeah, I'm not a big
He's
Baker
not that big.
Mayfield
He's like
fan,
5'11".
but I will say that I
Exactly.
enjoy
He's a
watching
midget.
the Browns more now.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a pretty low bar to set.
because of Nick Chubb.
that's true.
Well, yeah, and I
love
think
that job.
they're making some big moves. So, like, I always think that sports is more fun when you have a team that has been consistently losing become relevant.
Oh,
again.
no doubt. No doubt.
So, like, I think that the Raiders are going to be a talk of the town probably in the next 3-5 seasons.
They do have 3 first-round picks.
Yeah,
I think
that'll
that
be
all-
exciting.
That
Yeah.
all falls on Derek Carr. If Derek Carr can be actually good, then they can be really good because they're putting pieces around him. But we don't know if he's good or not.
Yeah.
I feel like based off the Raiders games that I've watched in the last few years. But whatever.
Yeah.
My cousin is a big Raiders fan, so he's pretty confident. But he feels the same way. It's like they're going to live and die by Carr.
I feel like if you're a Raiders fan, you're a legit fan.
He has season tickets like in the black hole where they like
That's
paint up
awesome.
and like if you wear the other team's jersey, you might get stabbed.
Dude, talk about a crappy stadium, though. Because
Well,
I
they're
guess
on
the
they're,
way-
they're
they're on their
moving.
way out.
They're moving.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, for
That
the
stadium's going to
years,
be super nice.
yeah, probably.
Dude, they need to destroy the Coliseum. That is hideous.
What
It's
they
where the
play in
A's
now?
play.
Yeah.
No, it's awful, dude. It's so
You been to a
bad.
game there?
I've been in the stadium when I went to San Francisco, but
Saw
I
it
was
on
like,
Google.
But I was like, dude, it's
Yeah, I've never seen it
awful.
before.
I mean, it's not in a nice area,
the
obviously.
Giants have a nice stadium right across the bay.
Really?
San Francisco Giants, yeah, AT&T Park.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's, or no, is it Levi? No,
No.
Levi is where the 49ers play.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about
AT&T.
the baseball Giants.
Yeah, the baseball
Oh.
Giants in San Francisco.
Dude,
that park's really
stadium
nice.
is awesome.
You
Yeah.
saw the Braves play there, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. My dad and I saw the Braves play. Paid
saw the-
$16 for Miller Lite. That was pretty cool.
So the Giants played
Welcome
the
to California.
Dodgers, the Giants played the Dodgers there.
You see any fights?
Yeah, but
that's
it wasn't
a pretty
even,
nasty baseball.
Yeah,
rivalry.
and I was on the outfield wall. So you know where the water is right behind you?
You were in
I was
San Francisco?
on that. Yeah, I was on that
Covey
wall.
Cove was
With the
behind you.
Coca-Cola sign behind you? Oh, that iconic.
That was to the right of me.
Okay.
So I was to the left.
Because
And there
Barry
was-
Bonds put that thing on TV every week. That was,
Yeah. There was a guy.
became iconic.
There was a guy there
There's
that
a cove
was like,
behind it if you hit a home run.
Mhm.
Baseball's float, which I didn't know until I went to a game there. And people sit out there in kayaks and they go,
What else floats?
there you go.
so we could see. Yeah, because there was a couple
duck.
couple homers that were hit.
Yeah.
Right. Like there was one right over me. I can't remember who it was. Who's the first baseman for the Dodgers? He's a
No idea.
He's a hot shot player. That's like
Albert
real
Pujols?
good. No.
I don't know.
Brent knows. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Brent's probably annoyed right now at us.
yeah. But
What else is new?
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger. That's who it was.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Love him.
Okay. So, anyways, but yeah,
Bell.
there was a fight that broke out. I mean, he didn't get super physical, but it was funny because it was actually a guy wearing a Rams jersey that was getting into a fight with, I don't know, he might have been a Raiders fan or something. I don't get that, but like whatever. it was bizarre.
What was the?
He was
Was
just
it,
being
just
an
like
ass.
L.A. versus San Francisco, I guess. But then the Raiders used to be
Yeah.
the L.A. Raiders, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of weird
I don't know.
crossover
The
there.
kid was definitely drunk and was acting like an idiot. So
You know
might
what's
have just
funny?
been a fight because he was
were-
acting like an idiot.
I think it might have been Tyler and I, might have been Reese and I. We're talking about, this is totally off topic, but
Sure.
it's funny how like your different sports loyalties change to where like you think about Georgia Tech could be playing each other in Bobby Dodd, and there could be a Georgia and a Georgia Tech fan that just hate each other and get in a fight, and then the next day the Falcons could have a home game, and those two could be sitting next to each other like cheering on the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's
I just
true.
think it's
That
pretty
wasn't you and
interesting.
I. So
Was it not? Okay, I guess it was Reese.
yeah, that's a good point.
It's just a funny
But
like
does that
the-
really
the-
happen in anything else other than
The different
Football?
loyalties.
No, because
that-
Tech fans can't afford NFL games.
what? Isn't there an NFL team that was doing some crazy like? They were jumping off RVs onto tables.
That's Bill's Mafia.
Bill's Mafia.
They're
Bill's
into that.
Mafia is awesome.
They're- I think that they banned that at their tailgate.
Yeah, there was like a thing about it that came.
They
out
jump
this year.
onto those white folding tables that
Speaking of banning things real quick of that nature, we went to a NASCAR race with Reese a couple of years back. We rolled up with Ed, State Farm Ed, and we pulled out like a table and everything and beer and everything, and they were like, no tailgating here. We're like, this big field in the NASCAR event. We were like, there's no
Was it at
tailgating.
Atlanta
all
Motor
ar-
Speedway?
Yeah, all around us.
Huh.
People are already drinking. They guess, hey, you guys know tailgating. They guess they said it to like almost say it to say, we warned everybody
and then
just
did
in
they,
case something.
then
And
they
drove
walked
off.
away and
Yeah,
you just
it was. Yeah, I just thought that was a bizarre thing. If you want to kill your environment, no tailgating, or I guess try to kill the Bills Mafia.
They kinda
That's
do
what
that
that
at
entire
the-
sport is based on.
they do that at the Battery, but that's just on purpose to get you to
go
into the bars.
battery. Yeah.
I do wish that there was more of a tailgating atmosphere.
I do
there.
too.
That would have
Yeah.
been.
That was fun with Turner Field, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to have the battery too. That is a fun element. I guess wish it wasn't the only thing to go do.
Right.
There's
outside of
one
the stadium.
lot that's like the tailgate lot, but it's more expensive than the other lots, and it's pretty far away.
Is it really for the Braves?
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
like
that.
across the interstate.
Oh,
Speaking
across
of
that pedestrian bridge.
tailgating snafus, when we tailgated at Georgia Southern, I think it was our first football game.
Eagles.
The Eagles. We made the mistake of taking a charcoal grill and then not knowing what to do with the charcoal after, because like we wanted to go in, but we're like, we can't just leave this burning. We can't leave it just in the parking lot. Some kid's gonna face plant into a pile of charcoal, you know. So we had no idea what to do with it. We had lined the grill with tin foil, so we were able to pick it out. We didn't know where to put it, so it was kind of cool. It wasn't like on fire, but we put it in the back of this guy's truck that was part of the group.
Were you there, Tyler?
No.
No, and when we came back, it had melted. The ridges on a plastic tailgate,
Yeah,
or the truck bed. It had melted a flat
The liner?
circle out of that. Yeah,
all the
And-
way through, like to the
No,
actual bed. It was a liner.
It just
and
melted it
through to the
flat.
middle.
Yeah,
Oh my
so it
gosh.
just had a circle. So I still don't know the answer about really what you do with charcoal, like if you leave the grill there or not. But don't put it in the back of your truck unless you want to do.
What
There
do
you
you
go,
do? I feel
yeah.
like Kyle Hardaway is always
Yeah,
cooks
ask
with
the grill
charcoal, and we
masters.
just
I
kind of
think, can't you leave it there with the vent open?
I guess
Let
maybe you just
it
pour
rip?
water on it. I don't know. Yeah.
don't know.
So
If any of
anyone
our
who knows the
viewers
answers,
know, yeah.
comment.
Have some
Comment,
Have some sand.
tweet at us. Don't text us.
Yeah.
Leave comments.
Text
interact
Jimmy.
with the podcast.
Interesting.
We
right.
got anything else?
I don't think so. I'm just reading
we
through.
made a whole lot of nothing last about 50 minutes.
Yeah,
where we
Latavius
at?
Murray is on his way to the Saints.
Yeah,
Mark Ingram's
pretty
on
good
his
bit
way
of
out.
Mark
free
Ingram. They
agent
let Mark
signings.
Ingram go.
Spelling the end of the Mark Ingram era. So I don't know if that means that they are going to. He's going to take a back seat in that role, or
Nah, he's
they're going to
probably-
look to deal him.
Yeah, he's probably like his contract's probably up, and that means
Sure.
they're not going to
Interesting.
resign him.
Was there any other? Thomas Davis, Panther great, Georgia great.
Cardinals
First
right?
most went to Chargers.
Chargers. Okay.
He
I
hoped
think
to-
Terrell Suggs might have gone.
He hoped to.
Cardinals.
Did Terrell Suggs leave?
Terrell Suggs is gone.
Golly,
So
man,
this will be the
crazy.
first season since 1996 that either Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, or Terrell Suggs was not on the
Since 1996.
96. Can you believe that?
It's right before that murder happened here in Atlanta. That's crazy.
Yeah. What do you know?
All right. Well, it's again has been a great discussion. We started off with not a whole lot on the docket, and inevitably found our way to some topics.
We
So
touched cricket. That's a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
we really
Darts,
covered
bowling, archery.
women's swimming. It's been
Wait, if you want it, we got it.
Very
baby.
inclusive.
yes. So again, we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. But from all of us here to everybody out there, we want to say thanks again, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.